Hello, and welcome to Evolution of the WAD. Each week discusses a new topic in which we delve into the history, the content, and the legacy of Doom mapping. I'm Captain Clever, and I'll mostly be guiding this friendly, whatever crappy tour that we do every week. Not every week. I wish it was every week. By playing through a bunch of maps.
Just the time consumption.
Yeah, it'd be nice. But so with me we have, just in order on the screen, we got Alfonso.
Hi, welcome back, May.
Good. And we got Do.
Hi, it's like I've never left.
Yeah, compared to earlier. We got M-Trop.
I'm back, baby. What up?
And we have Turnsman.
I'm glad you got through the intro because another guy joined the chat and I'm contractually obligated to do this thanks to Alfonso. So Ethan's 59, more like Peethan's 69. Oh!
You got that one in there with the 69, so I'm glad.
Sign the waiver. Very good. Moving on.
It's good to get the icebreakers out. So, this topic in episode 9 is, again, discussing the series of episodes on TeamTNT. Specifically now we're looking at the Boom engine, which was incredibly important to the history of Doom and Doom mapping and all sorts of stuff. Not only in the engine itself, but simply in the features that it spawned and the legacy of those features. So the very first thing we're going to do is get out of this stupid demo reel, because that's what it is, and instead boot up good old-fashioned DOSBox.
Nice.
And DOSBox is going to let us take a look at the original Boom engine. So
Let me just preface here. What I'm really interested in seeing or learning here is how we arrived at where we are today with regards to the Boom engine, how the community likes to understand and appreciate the Boom engine as something that is used more as a shortcut or as a go-to to avoid having to deal with the mapping limitations of vanilla, rather than as something that can be used to explore its unique features. So I'd love to see how we got to that stage. You know, we do have stuff like Going Down, which showcases some excellent usage. I'm sure we'll get to that. But that transformation is going to be fascinating, I think.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else feel like chiming in? Because that's kind of how I feel too. It's the subtleties. I was looking for map sets to epitomize what was done in Boom, and you don't really find a lot in the later era.
Right. Yeah.
So,
like, I mean, it feels like at the time this came out, this was like, whoa, new stuff. And I remember, like, when, you know, TeamTNT, I guess technically, like, Lee Kilo and I think someone else, but like Kilo's name comes up a lot with regards to the extensions to the Doom engine, aka Boom. And I remember it coming out and me being like totally psyched about it, and of course everybody else around me not so psyched because they didn't do this sort of shit. But this was like way back in the past, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna make so many cool things. And I don't know, Quake came out. and well, this was released in 1998, right? So like Quake was around and a bunch of other stuff was around. So I was looking for an opportunity to jump back into Doom mapping again, because this did a lot more cool stuff, and I could finally have like giant maps that didn't visplane overflow. And I had a computer that had enough RAM to do it, but I don't know. I didn't get into Boom mapping until like much later. Like after Z-Doom came out and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. As far as I know, this was this thing that was supposed to be the big step that's like the evolution of Doom, making it a more modern game or whatever. But it came out in 1998, and 1999 you already had Z-Doom. Pushing the boundaries even further, and like in 1998 no one even mapped for Boom yet, and already a year later people were already experimenting with the wild stuff in Z-Doom. So it was like the time when there was just Boom as the next step was actually pretty short.
Right. I feel like it's evolved in a different direction to what I'm sure the creators expected. But at the same time, I feel like it was quite contingent on the success and appreciation of vanilla mapping. So this sort of moved in tangent. That's my suspicion anyway. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean the big thing though was I wouldn't have moved to ZDoom at all if it wasn't also compatible with the Boom engine. Like you found a lot of ports trying to handle Boom engine features as a main selling point, or as a major.
Like Captain's stream is trying to handle DOSBox right now, unless that's just me.
Yeah,
it's really choppy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's only on your end this for once.
All right.
Thanks, Australia.
No, I mean like your
Wasn't the
guys.
pun on ID choppers.
Also, I'm just going to jump in here and say, Townsman, you're relieved of that contractual obligation because
Damn it! I had Ricardo
No.
Tater for Turbo Saver and for Mustachio for Nuclear Potato.
God damn it!
Nuclear potato. Yeah.
I hope we don't go keep doing this the entire stream.
So, Tarman, do you want to mention any intro thoughts regarding Boom stuff before we dive in?
That sounds like a no.
I guess
It sounds
not.
like he's still trying to think of word plays.
Yeah.
Well, what I mean, Tarnsman has plenty of mouthfuls.
He's the
about
household
everything.
cat. He'll
We're
come
good, we're
along
good.
for the ride whenever he feels.
So
it.
anyway, the Boom engine was created by a number of developers as part of TeamTNT. Most notably, at least the big names that people tend to know are Jim Flynn and Ty Halderman. But you also have Lee Kellogg.
I always said
Kilo.
kill.
Kilo. I think everyone says kilo.
Okay, so we'll just make that silent. And
Yeah.
he later developed the Marine's Best Friend, or MBF engine, which was kind of almost a direct extension to the Boom engine, which I guess people probably moved on to almost immediately after Boom engine came out.
Well, people didn't even realize it existed because they thought that the MBF features were Boom features, and
Oh.
it's simply because ZDoom existed, and a bunch of other ports like Legacy also incorporated, I think, MBF stuff, and that was MBF was like the nobody knew that existed because of the step between. So it honestly, in this day and age, it hasn't really had that much, like MBF hasn't really had that much prominence, except for, weirdly enough, very recently when Skillsaw made Valiant and Ancient Aliens that explicitly used like weird dehacked stuff in
Well,
that was in BMF.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was mainly taking advantage of the extra states, but it's not just the dehack. There's also some really cool stuff that never gets really used, even in extensive boom mapping outside of like eternal shit, like the music change function and.
And then like the change skies mostly used. That's the
Change
only.
guys, but that was actually in PR Boom. That was actually like grandfathered into the Boom compat, like stolen from MBF, and now you can use it in Boom compat maps. Of course it won't show properly if you play it in actual Boom, but PR Boom cheats and lets you use those features in the comp level that's actually just Boom.
Yeah. So, but let's not get too off topic because this is Boom engine. We'll probably hit MBF at some point for I don't know how much there is to get into, but
There isn't much really.
for now, let's look at how the Boom engine actually worked, and that it had a setup in game which was different from the original Doom engine. You could put in your key bindings and have a number of other options, such as the priority on weapons, whether or not they give you recoil, whether or not the bobbing shows up. Bobbing's actually kind of important in Doom. It feels really weird if you don't have it.
Completely
SNMU
ice
stands for
skating.
Smack My Marine Up, I believe.
Yeah, we will do an episode on that later, and it will last 5 minutes.
Smack my marine up, yeah. Oh boy, helper dogs. Oh no, that was MBF. MBF
was
had
MBF,
helper
yeah.
dogs.
SMMU has like nothing.
So here's
Well-
the recoil in action.
Show this the HUD. That's the most important legacy.
And yes, the HUD options. Boom had the stuff that a lot of speedrunners like to have these days, where you can see all your kills, items, and secrets ahead
My
of time.
goodness, that looks so antiquated to me. I imagine those who are so used to looking at that HUD setup, they use it simply for that reason. I can't make heads or tails of that at a glance. I need my mug face.
That's how I play Doom.
Yuck. What's wrong with you?
I like this no weapon Bob because it reminds me that we really need Commander Keen Doom.
I would
Oh.
not mind it at all.
New guy, Chambertian, more like Gay Bertian.
Yeah, that was
Contracted.
Well,
It's not that good. No.
Blamberdian.
I mean,
Yeah.
Shamberdian. I mean, come on.
Lame birdian.
Lambertian.
Anyway, moving on.
Oh,
so,
lame
yeah,
version. Oh wait, there we go.
we have
This
those-
is really laggy on the mixer stream, by the way.
Yeah, on the
sorry, that must be DOSBox. Fortunately, it's picking up just fine on the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have the status bar in the HUD. You can change a lot of options
We
there
don't
just for fun. You can change the colors on the auto map, the default of which are kind of different from original Doom.
yeah.
That's for sure. What else you got? Remember previous target. So that was the available in the original Boom engine. Which what would be a good place to show that off? I think map 8.
Oh,
No.
maybe.
I always forget which one this is. Gosh. How can I, there. Gosh. Okay. So.
Yeah, I don't
So
remember.
right
either.
now I haven't woken up the Cyber Demon.
Yes, I'm familiar with the behavior you're talking about.
Yeah. So let's see if I can do this.
It's the one that's default
Come
to
on.
Lost Souls, isn't it? Or is there a slight difference there?
There we go.
The
Point
Lost
is-
Souls behavior, the difference in Lost Souls behavior comes from Final Doom executable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Learn something new
There's
every day.
like if they hit the floor, they switch
Oh,
on
wait, I
the
don't-
Z
I have it
axis, so
on,
they
that's-
bump from the floor up.
Yeah.
That's Final Doom executable.
They just like reflect their the Y component of the vector they're traveling in.
Okay, here we go. So if you
Let's see if
don't
we
have
can get that
remember
one.
previous target on, and this guy finishes killing the enemy. What?
I mean, his splash is gonna keep the
Yeah,
ball
trigger a
rolling.
bunch of other guys. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so like the thing is, he just would go back to his like dormant state.
Yeah.
Correct.
Uh,
And then immediately wake up, and you'd kind of hear him screaming a bunch of times. And that's
Well, then
Yeah.
my
kind of-
understanding is that if you had shot,
There it is, right there again.
fired a shot in
Yeah,
that room,
yeah.
the sort of sound is preserved in a sense. So it's like you kind of tag that room as having you sounded off in it,
Right.
so that he remains aware of you even if you've left and you're no longer in the line of sight. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's how that's supposed to work. Yeah, there it is again. So he'll just keep screaming every time he kills a Baron, basically.
He's got to assert dominance, man. Like just murder
But
all
if
you
you don't,
guys.
if you
Bigger
have
than a
remember
bug.
previous target on, he won't do that because he'll always kind of remain active regardless.
Yeah, he'll remember that you're the guy that he needs to kill.
So is Tricks and Traps actually university and that's just a seminar or something? Was that a
Yes,
lecture hall?
yes, that's actually what.
Okay.
How did
So that's
take
one of the most
Oh,
critical
that's-
questions.
This is
How to
actually
take a rocket
quite
to the
rare.
face.
Like you got the Cyber Demon to actually win, which
Yeah.
is quite rare.
I bet that was Boom. It changes everything.
Maybe. Yeah, there's actually what we should probably show off is the pushing monsters off ledges, which is probably the most like contentious addition.
We'll probably see that in a few in some maps. As I
Yeah,
go along.
somewhere.
We'll
It
make
will
note
come
of
up
it when that
somewhere.
happens. But yes.
Basically, Boom added a feature where you can push monsters over arbitrary ledges. So if you just
Well, I guess the way that it works is that if you don't have a monster blocking line, then the monster can actually fall off the ledge.
Right, yeah.
And I believe
momentum
the
would
purpose
push it
of
off.
that was for the conveyor belts to work correctly. That they have.
Yeah.
It was kind
but
of
it
like
was an unintentional side effect of completely destroying the way that the game normally treats enemies
Right,
that
yeah.
shot on ledges.
It was like the original game had this cool effect where like if you shot a monster and like the corpse would fly over the edge and come towards you actually, which was completely non-Euclidean. And
That was a Romero feature. He requested that.
right, yeah.
What's
But-
the barrels and players too?
And you couldn't do this with live monsters. Like you couldn't push them over the edge; they would get blocked. So Boom added this feature where you could push the monsters over the edge. Like, makes sense, right? Yeah. Oops! It actually brought a ton of complications because that's actually kind of detrimental to how usually maps should be played. Most importantly, sniper monsters on like elevated pillars would often fall into like pits and would become unkillable.
Yeah. I don't know, like in today's world of ports and stuff, I always surround those pillars with like monster blocking stuff, especially if they're like arch vials or whatnot.
Yeah.
The popular ones to stick on ledges to be a dick.
I understand there's a dehacked flag as well that you can enable to prevent monsters or enable them to walk off cliffs. I know I'm currently in the Iron Man thread, but we're playing Osiris, and I don't remember the names of the that's for vanilla, I think, would be, but
That's definitely it. Like if monsters collide with lines that whose sector or like what is it? Whose sector on the other side has a floor lower than 24, I think. Yeah, there's like more of a difference.
well, there's an arch. Well, it's not an arch file replacement. It has the sprites of an arch file roughly, but it's the Arachnotron replacement that is flagged to walk over cliffs, which I don't think I've seen in any custom monster use anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's just showing off the Boom engine, but I believe it was Jim Flynn that came out with an accompanying WAD that would actually show off a number of because I'm not on my normal thing.
There we go.
Which was called boomedit.wad. And it basically explains a number of special sectors and line def actions and things that you can use for your WADs if you want to. So we got a number of things that allow
Is that
only
fucking canon in D?
Yeah, it
yes,
is.
Pocketbill's canon. Yes.
Yeah, and it's an embedded MIDI, so it's so like that was like the big one of the big features of I think Boom was like you just throw throw MIDI files in there. I think that was like added in Doom 1.9 though, I think, but I'm not entirely sure then what directly embedded WAD means. I think just as is, just throw a MIDI in there.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused with that as well.
So right here we have conveyor belts, and they can
Captain.
fall off ledges. Whoop, hold on. What?
This is really important, Captain. I need you to like send me this because I need this MIDI.
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, thanks.
It's comes stock with Windows.
Yeah, it comes with one of them. Like the Windows one is a RMI file, which is like it stored the instrument sound with it. It was like a riff MIDI. It's a crap format, really. It's MIDI plus wave.
Good.
So you can also have these things be activated by just pressing a thing, including the two other actions that we just saw.
Oh yeah, as a sector floor moves.
Right.
That is like a lot of these specials are just not used in anything that I've seen recently.
Yeah, that's something I imagine we'll discuss.
And you can also have them work accelerated, not just constant velocity.
Yeah.
Now, of course, so much of what players do with the Boom engine when they are intent on making use of its advanced sort of line def actions, whatever, is achieved using what we like to call dummy sectors, which means they'll have a control sector, something that's not in the playable space, it's written off, drawn off to the side of the map, and they'll place a voodoo doll on that when certain actions within the playing space are triggered, will activate a scroller, and then he'll pass over certain lines. That's usually how...
Now explain what a voodoo doll is.
Also, that's just a second player one start that has all the properties of the player, except it isn't controllable. So anything that a player is able to activate, the voodoo doll can do as well. But it has to be moved via other means.
Honestly, we could probably dedicate an entire episode to voodoo dolls and voodoo scripting.
Right. But where I'm going with this is that we're demonstrating the effects here. You probably need to go outside the map to see control sectors. Like, all those effects are going to be actioned outside of the playing space.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tea time, back in a sec.
And we also have some very, you might almost call them gaudy differences that the Boom engine can do, like changing the fact that now where everything is blue, and everything is blue because of the way that the sector actually allows it to work.
Yeah, you could attach like color maps by name. It was like in a color map section of the WAD, like C start, C end, and then what was it, like if you had like the deep water or the transfer floor stuff specials doing that sort of thing, if you set the I think it was like the lower sector or upper sector depending on what was fake, to a name of a color map, it would use that color map once the player's viewpoint was in that area. So hey, cool stuff.
Here's an example of the fake ceiling being
Yep.
Then we have some other actions. Using this door changes the brightness of the room.
Oh yeah.
We also have
There you go.
translucency effects, or I think, it calls it translucency.
Yeah. And that was done using this lump called Trantable, which was a basically a color map, a 256 by 256 color map, and that just mapped if we mix this color and this color, what's the resultant color. So it's just a lookup.
Switches can also be used to create multiple actions simultaneously.
Yeah. Oh, the use through. Oh, it's good.
This is a crusher, by the way. Not just
Never seen
a
that.
normal thing.
Used.
What, used through?
Well, I think there are a couple of maps in the early 2000s that I've where the same sector has been used as both simultaneously, like a. It's not that uncommon, I guess.
Ah, yeah.
A rising
Here's a
floor
big
and a crusher.
This is used all the time. Silent teleport.
Yes.
Oh, just to like simulate room over room or like weird effects like that. Yeah.
Very, very jankily, it must be said.
And well, one example, they have a room over room here. So you'll notice when I go into here, rather than like going into the room above, it'll actually take me to a different part of the map.
Yeah.
One thing about Silent Teleporter that actually kind of sucks is like if you're trying to use it for like a effect, like you hit a switch and then like it changes the entire fucking like room behind you, but you don't want that, like you don't want the player to know that like you want to do it outside the player's view. Like say they go into a hallway to where you can only see the switch, and then you hit the switch and then you turn around and you're fucking outside in a field now, or some cool effect like that.
Oh,
It doesn't carry the switch hit effect is the problem.
Yeah.
You don't like, hear the like it's really obvious that you silent teleport. So that's one bit of jankiness.
Right. Well, there are certain deficiencies for something like silent teleporters that we are so used to that we're happy to have them integrated into the map, and no one really bats an eye. I mean, if you stop to think about it, the way it's implemented, it's very impressive at the time, but it's so obviously jarring, and also the way that the sound cuts off as well. This is something that I think if you implemented today, if there wasn't sort of an underlying community-wide use of it day to day, would stop and say, hang on, this doesn't work at all. Color change effects, never, ever.
Used in that one community chest map. That was there was map 7 of community chest 2, I think. Oh no, was it? No, it was. Oh, what was it? It was the one with yeah. I think it was that one. It was the one that had like the hell teleporter in like the base.
No, of course we explored that in the
the community just
Map
2.
7 remake.
Map
Yeah,
7.
yeah. Also, when you saw like going up into that fake upstairs portion, and you saw like all those tiny little sectors lower. Oh man. Oh jeez. No more Visplane overflows.
No Visplane, no hum, no plat limit. This is something that we don't really care about in this day and age, but in Boom, they were actually raising a number of limits that made mapping of some certain degrees incredibly impossible.
Right, yeah, this is an important point, that when Boom came out, it was actually the limit removing standard. Nowadays, we understand still vanilla, but with raised static limits, which is basically what Doom 1.91 stands for, right? Like Doom 2 Plus.
Yeah. I mean, like the main reason for the limit was that it sorted stuff to draw in like a static array, and this one used hash tables to kind of figure out what matches and what didn't match in order to sort everything to draw in order. So there you go. If you always wanted to know the tech behind that.
These two technical bits are only kind of matter to mappers probably, but the fact that it'll go down to the lowest neighbor rather than any particular height or all the way down.
Extraordinarily useful. I mean, half the time these are just shortcuts that you don't have to create a dummy sector, as discussed. It's just baked right into the playing space with the switch.
And also note here, we have, well, this is a bridge. I don't even think this is Boom. But just the fact that you can have...
While we're being technical and showing stuff off.
Yeah.
We have this technique right here that allows you to create
Terrible
something over
looking
something.
bridge.
Although it's limited in how it works. So
yeah, it's like one of those crazy little tricks with like the floor lowers to the highest sector in like a dummy sector, and then when you jump off of it, it lowers back to the floor, or no, it raises back to the lowest floor, and that's how you get those 3D bridges.
So this is a special technique in the reference that they call an elevator, in which both the ceiling and the floor move simultaneously. And that's basically how this functions. So you kind of have something like a sector that's just moving up and down vertically.
Ooh.
Yeah, it moves up to the next one, and then up to the next one. Well, if there was no one up for the next one, it would just not move. So you could actually have the elevator special.
They break really fucking easily, though.
We also have
God damn it, this MIDI
friction going on here.
MIDI is fucking amazing.
Oh, don't ever do this. This is
This is
the one feature I think we could do without.
No, I just
one of the worst edition of Boom.
No, I disagree entirely. That room is very necessary in Coffee Break Map 9. Wait, 10?
No,
10.
it is fucking not. You.
No, yes, it is.
horrible
Oh,
human
It
being.
it is the worst room in the map.
guys, why don't you do anything new? Why don't you do anything new? I did something new, so you assholes better like it,
Yeah,
alright?
well, I could stand up my chair and shit in my bedroom. That'd be something new. I wouldn't do it.
All right.
Okay. No, Matt has a point. So let me rephrase that. Matt, why don't you do something new and good?
Hey, it was good. Just don't fall off those damn platforms and you don't get your ass handed to you by the
Just
Archvile.
don't fucking fuck with the fuck nuggets, and then you don't die.
Get good, scrub.
Just you could just teleport the player over a wood, just have him killed. That would be pretty much the same.
Nah, I want you to feel like you're fucked.
Oh,
You'll be stuck.
Drag it out, yeah.
Oh, God. Talking
We
about
also have some
self-standard
friction
though.
effects showing here.
Yeah, well, I was about to say,
Oh,
because
ice.
as much as I
There we
can't
go.
stand slowing down the player in sectors, I don't mind friction so much. And maybe it's just for the hilarity. I like berserking demons on ice.
And you got mud here. And mud works a little differently in that it has like a high static friction point, but once you start getting moving, it's not nearly as bad.
Pro tip
was
for
that?
anyone who wants to get around these terrible slow-moving sectors that should never be implemented, just walk around the edge. Just hang the center of your player hitbox on the outside of the line duff that forms the sector, and just walk around the side. And you won't be affected by the slowdown or the friction, whatever.
Unless
damaging
it's
sector.
DTST, and then just the entire room is that sector.
Oh, was it just a miasma of bad level design?
So you also have this thing, which you wouldn't be able to read if I didn't try to get to it at an angle, called point source wind effect.
Oh yeah, that's never used. Like the repel and attract by point, not by.
Oh yeah.
And you have to enable it in the sectors that you want it to happen in as well.
Is this inspired by the heretic stuff? Because as far as I know, heretic had a lot of same stuff like this.
I mean, they had no idea what they were doing with those features, but yeah.
And note here, when I open the door, it continues on in this room. But when the door closes, it won't be there. Like so. Then I open the door and suddenly I'm pushed out. So it's pretty interesting in how it works.
Huh.
This really makes me want to map for Boom.
And then we go down
Well,
here, another room under room, or room under room in this case.
Oh, and there's like a silent teleport that puts you under the ice. Yeah.
And
That
this
is
is the
way
final
cool.
gimmick that they added. You can't really read that, but that says gun exit. What that means is I shoot a switch. I don't press
Yeah.
it. I shoot it.
Yeah, I
the
never
level
once. I'm fairly certain.
Wait, are you trying to tell me there isn't a section for generalized donut actions?
Yeah, fucking Dude's right. We missed the most important thing you can do in fucking Boom. In fact, when are we doing an episode exclusively on donut effects?
Well, maybe
Oh, man.
if we can find enough maps for it.
Well,
No, we can't.
Carson, we're not going to play TTV Zone.
Oh yeah, can we just play TTV Zone for an episode?
Oh my god.
Anyway,
That was
so,
an interesting foray. It's almost like exploring a new engine.
Mhm.
Because of the way that we don't use it.
It was,
To
but I
those
mean, it
ends.
was exploring
Yeah.
a new engine. It's the Boom engine. It's different from vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, now that we've done so, and that shows off a lot of things, there are quite a few other bits and pieces, like was mentioned, generalized actions for things like line defs and donuts and sectors and stuff all over the place. Basically, you code in like bit flags into a particular line def or a sector, etc. And depending on how you approach it, it will do a certain, like, it'll go fast, it'll go turbo, it'll be a crusher, it'll deal damage, a la sector damage, things like that.
Yeah. Or like you have like lines where it's a door that opens blocked, but when you cross it instead of like shoot it and stuff like that. Like there's like crazy stuff you can do like that.
beat it, bop it, drop it.
Dude, bop it. That's great. I had that as a kid. So now that we've taken a quick look at what do you call it? Friggin' what can be done in the engine. Now let's see
Yeah.
what people did do in the engine.
Oh
We've
god, the
done-
H and the D are capitalized way too close to each other. I don't like this.
The first one up, and this actually came out even before that very Boom edit, is called House of Doom, and basically it's the Boom edition of House of Doom.
Mm.
So-
Oh,
Sound
that's a
effect.
shame. I was really, really hoping that
Sector toilet.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. Whoa, jeez, prepare your ears, folks.
Hold on, I just want to change the normal thing that I do.
I was really hoping that we were playing a different thing that had H and Doom in it.
No.
That's much later than 1998.
And it's
So this is
Boom.
House of Doom. And at least according to the text file, it's the very first WAD to use Boom stuff in it. That might not be true, but it did come out very early. It was like February of 1998. And I think the original Boom engine was January. So.
And of course, it's in my house one.
And yeah, it's in my
Yeah.
house. In fact, the text file like is prideful of that fact. It's like the best in my house WAD ever. So
Yeah, I've seen better.
Anyway, let's try to get to the... Well, there's an obvious one out here. So... That's usually
boy.
for a car that just keeps going.
Nice.
That's amazing. That's
Oh,
brilliant.
it's a sprite, not even a mid-texture. That makes it
Yeah.
so much better because that means it's fucking Tokyo drifting that shit.
Actually, one of the best things about the Boom engine, other than like the Visplane limit, was there was this quirk in Doom where if you wanted to replace sprites, you had to replace everything in the WAD or like do that weird DEUSF patching.
That's
like there was
right.
a
And then you
utility.
have to, like, merge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what you. And there were like programs that allow you to do that like legally. So like when you played this, it would have to like merge all the IWAD shit in to make it work. But like Boom just did it right out of the box. If you replaced the sprite, it was replaced.
It was quite handy.
Yeah, very very handy. Like it did some things like that were like kind of necessary to have stuff, and then
How is this
Yeah.
movie?
Yuck. You know, man, I liked this map better when it was Oceanside by Valkyrie Force. Check it out, recent release.
oh yeah, that's really good. I started playing through that.
So we have a room over
What
here.
is this MIDI?
Oh shit, room
Sounds like
over
something Joe
room,
Earlier would pick. Oh, and the Nazis.
SS's. The hallmark of a great map. Just throwing in the Wolfenstein SS's.
You gotta have Nazis, honestly. They just make everything so much
Yeah.
better.
Beautiful.
Oh damn! A monster
Wow.
behind an opaque wall. That's another classic.
Amazing. Anyway, there really isn't much else to show on this map. Maybe the basement. I forget if the basement has it. It's another room over room. We'll just take a quick look. I don't know if there's anything specific in here. I think
That's
it's
a real
just another
misnomer because it's not a room over room. But
room. Oh, it's a room under room. Sure.
Yeah.
well, no, it's not.
Yeah,
a map.
I know what you meant.
Rum, whatever, just drink it.
No, tastes like piss.
I hate rum.
Oh wait, that reminds me. The beer of the evening is a beer by the brewery. It's called Orshata.
What kind of hipster shit is just naming your brewery the brewery?
Yeah, but it's spelled Bruery.
Oh my god, that's some
Oh
like
my
fucking
God.
like
Goddamn 12 mustache and everything.
Yeah, those
fucking
weirdos.
fart in
weirdos
a
in-
bag and smell it levels right there.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, well, it is Orange County, California, and
Oh god, I fucking Jesus.
That makes me physically ill.
yeah. So like, what is it? The beer of the evening is called Orshata, Orxata, and it's a. I'm sure you can figure out. It's kind of a horchata type of beer, blonde ale brewed with rice and lactose with cinnamon and vanilla beans. It's all right. It's not the best, but it's all right.
Moving on.
But it's very politically correct beer, right?
It's
We have,
it's not quite horchata, but you know.
Poor Captain.
this is called Eulogy 9, made by Saib or Mike Watson.
Oh,
so.
Mike. Mike makes some good stuff.
Pretty sure.
Hey, Deepwater.
So yeah, we have the deep water effect right here.
Wait. Does this predate Doom JR?
I believe so. Yes.
So this is from the beginning of his illustrious career.
Could be. I guess I might be a little off on those dates, but
I'm going to display my ignorance here, which is bad as someone who's supposed to be an expert on these casts, but Void is his, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So then, he should know a thing or two about showcasing features for new engines in a good
Yeah.
way.
Hey, there's
Look
that
at this
tree
bridge.
again.
It's definitely a boom.
Yeah, glass floor.
I've seen that tree in too many recent releases. It's not very good.
Yeah, Eternal Doom and the Boom Edit WAD and I don't know, it's fucking everywhere. It's like
Probably
shit.
That tree came from Maximum Doom too, is the best part.
Yuck.
I mean, the tree itself came from Hexen, and then people are just like, let's just airbrush like green shit on the branches or whatever. That looks good, right?
Oh,
the
is
deep water
that
effect that we saw at the start there, that is one of the When was this released? Sorry,
This is 98.
still 98.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's one of the tropes that has survived and continues to be implemented.
Yep.
Yeah, I found a few others, but they were mostly just that effect, so I figured you don't have to see it that many times.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it that many times.
Of course, I mean these sorts of things, deep water and transparency, they're not really things that dictate gameplay. Sorry, I used that word and I'm supposed to hate it. They can do, yeah, as we saw with the Mankiewicz stuff behind the. Yeah, I think it's useless.
Why?
Because
What are you, some kind of hipster?
Oh no.
You're gonna make
Sure,
sure
in the context of just a game, Alfonso, but in a video game,
Yeah.
it's important to distinguish between the game play and the game everything else.
No, it hasn't. There's no content to it. I mean, I understand we've sort of built our community around use of the word, and so it's foolish of me to try and wean ourselves off of it. But really, I mean,
You
read a book
Yeah.
and say it has good book read. You would describe the content of the actual book.
So that's a cool little effect right there.
Actually, no.
Yeah.
You could say that the book is a good read. Like
Yes.
Actually, no. But like,
The game plays well. Congratulations.
but like a book can have interesting characters and interesting plot and all that, and be really hard to read. Like, it can be a chore to read.
Oh
the
shit!
evolution of the WAD
Translucency.
episode covering gameplay, when we eventually eradicate that word from the community, have to describe how it came to that.
You know what I'm saying though, Alfonso, right?
Wow,
Like,
look at
you
that.
can have a book that the substance of the book is interesting, but like the prose and all that, like it's a really hard read.
Games can have that too. You gotta
Wait,
give ourselves more
What
credit.
if you get hit by the cube here?
Oh yeah. Will it telefrag you? I don't
Oh, yeah,
think it
do that.
will.
Figure it
You will
out.
turn into a treadmill monster with whatever else you're stuck with.
Try and get hit.
It's gonna be hard.
IDDQD, man.
Let's start by
And
getting
just
rid of everything.
stand on one spot.
Well, now we're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ratmatron, yeah. You have to try to miss that.
I couldn't move. I can only say that. And is the fact that this is only showing up on the floor and not the ceiling a boom effect, or is that something that you
Yeah,
Yes.
transfer lights.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought so.
Although you can, of course, easily achieve that in vanilla simply by raising the sector ceiling.
Raising the
so
roof.
and not texturing the sides. So that the flats on either side of that sector bleeds into to fill it.
Yeah. But this is like a cleaner approach.
Looks like the Mancubus is my HP right now.
Jeez, I think you could probably tank it forever if you get enough.
Oh, melee attack.
Never mind.
Anyway,
Didn't need enough.
there we go. John Romero had finally died.
Nice.
So anyway,
Is that
that's
just on the timer so you could die right at the start and then just hang around?
no. You have to kill the Keens and press a switch.
Oh, I
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's Eulogy 9. He made 8 more of those. Naturally,
It was charming.
He started with 9 and then walked back.
We also have the Arcticus Series, also made by the same author here.
Oh wow! You know, I think I have actually played that. Okay,
And
this could
the
be a
very
trick.
first one was Boom. The next ones actually included specific MBF type effects, so I can't really include them, but this first one shows off some Boom stuff. Most notably, I mean, it's Arctica, so as you might expect, there's going to be some ice.
Yeah. Man, Sybe made some really cool stuff.
Did.
Yeah, like he was I think he was the mapper that, well, he made Void, and that kind of got me back into mapping for Doom again.
Oh fuck, we gotta fucking kill Sybe.
Yeah, sorry everybody.
Dude, entered along with Ling start to crate. That's probably the most influential metric that the community has generated in its 24 years history.
I say start.
Oh,
to
I'm sorry.
More relevant.
Start. Okay, yeah, sure.
Start to helipad.
Start to helipad. Start to helipad's a very key. metric.
Start to Crate though was invented by Chet Falazek and
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's right. It was ported over.
yeah, it was like
By
Chet Falazek and oh, what's his face? The other guy. His name. Come on, Matt.
While you're thinking of it, so they're right there. That implementation of friction is simply to showcase the effect. Does not influence the play at all.
This is actually a good use of two barons.
Yep.
I thought someone might say that. I was half distracted. Must mention.
Like, sorry, it has nothing to do with. This is actually a pretty good use of two barons, and I have to say.
Honestly, Baron usage is such a problem in the Doom community that has plagued it for so long that all good usage of barons
has to be highlighted.
It's way more important than whatever else we're talking about. Like, your mom is dying, I don't care. This is fucking some good baron placement right here.
Eric Wallpaw, that's the name of the other guy. Fuck, how did I forget that?
So I don't even know if this is
man.
Boom, but this is a puzzle. Oh man, puzzles in Doom.
I think the inclination to use burn simply makes you more puzzly.
So I think that's really just a sector lowering and raising, but the fact that it changes its quality or its texture, I think that might actually be different.
I really did want to harp on about this just a little bit more, though, just to get to the end of this little carriage of thought here, because I know Tarnsman likes to point out that a lot of people have the propensity to sort of use damaging floors in a way that is, it's tied in with the flat usage, but it's not necessarily to, restrict movement or whatever, in the way that Romero would have done it, for example. It's simply because, it's nice to have a nukage ball because it looks pretty, and I want to have liquid on the map and it looks pretty, so you can have puddles here and they all damage, but it has no impact on the way that things play. The friction usage there on the floor is essentially the same thing.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
So that's a pretty worthless implementation of that feature.
Yep.
Make more catwalks, people. God damn it.
Seriously, just do it. They're amazing.
That sounds like a dangerous cyber demon.
It is. That wasn't enough. Okay. And then what do you know? More ice. Although it's not this ice here. It's actually this piece of it. That's the crappy friction one.
Oh, so yeah, again, same thing. Actually, this whole area was friction. That would be more interesting. Not that I necessarily like it, but it would make more sense.
Well, the friction doesn't apply to monsters, which kind of sucks, right?
It can't.
Conveyors can. Friction doesn't, I don't think.
Yeah, well, the monsters can't move or don't move around by impulse or force, like how the player does, really. Like, the player is succumbed to a lot of, momentum and stuff. Right. Monsters are just, can I move there? Move me there.
I forgot what I had to do here. Hold on.
Right, although I think they can be affected if, they're in the middle of their attack animation or something and you hit them and they slide back a bit.
Oh yeah, anything that has momentum added to them, shooting them with something, hitting them with a rocket.
Hence berserking picking.
Yeah, that's a subtle thing that Doom has that you'll notice, but unless you think about it, it's oh yeah, they really do have that mass. Everything has some kind of mass value to them, so you can knock them around, and that just adds to game feel. There's another
Paco demons with a rocket launcher.
Game feel. God, don't make me punch you.
No,
Shit.
game feel is a valid term, sir. I will fight you.
What is your problem with game? No, because fucking.
I'm just trying to foster more creative use of language in the community. We're too terminology dependent. It's not even that it's a bad word necessarily. I think it is, but I just want people to describe what they feel and see a little better.
But you already protested gameplay. Now you're protesting game feel.
Why don't you protest games, Alfonso?
Game, right? Yeah,
Are you?
You're right. I'll back up. I'll concede that, and we'll just move one peg at a time, all right?
Yeah,
just call it interpretive dance.
Yeah, right?
Expressed by playing this artistic piece.
Look, it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell.
Alfonso's next
I don't
WAD.
need to convince you, just the people, some of the people on stream. We're gonna start a movement.
Alfonso's next WAD is not going to be a game. It's going to be like a reimagining of the day he discovered that he was gay or something like that. It's going to be like a story-driven personal experience.
Everybody thinks I'm gay.
I don't actually. I was just...
this one right here. This is tough.
Does this involve friction?
Nope. It does have deep water, though. Right here. Hurting deep water because it's ice water.
Ah, there you go.
I got really lucky there. Didn't attack even once. And that's the level. So it just shows off a few extra things here and there. But it's using ice to represent the friction effects.
Yeah. I think already it's starting to move in that direction where it's not necessarily dictating the way things play that much. So I'll be interested to see if something bucks that trend.
Well, here's a spider mastermind fight using ice.
She's guarding the keys. She's holding them.
Yeah. Oh, and every time you hit the wall, it like makes a little sound.
They're small little
I
hands.
don't know if that's significant.
That was
keys.
actually in Hexen, I believe. Like if you slid and then hit into something, you go.
This is a non-trivial fight.
Yeah, no, you can't abuse that 32 wide pillar in the same way that you would ordinarily.
Yeah.
You can abuse it pretty similarly.
Everyone remembers the slider mastermind,
Dang
right?
it.
I don't
So,
mean
yeah.
the burger.
But there's nothing after this. That's basically the level. Just as showing off something, I don't know.
But that's more valuable to me than the previous one in showcasing how it can affect stuff. Even though it's
Okay,
not
so
a
I know
level.
everybody's
Yeah,
happy to see this.
It's super clear. Like, yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
No.
Oh, dude, look away! Shit!
So, as it turns out, TeamTNT made a number of deathmatch map sets, and we didn't really cover them because nobody knows anything about them.
What the fuck is this?
And Reclamation was
Reclamation.
the, I believe, final map set that actually had boom effects added in it. So
Yeah.
Okay, hold
New
on.
game. No plasma, ammo times 2.
What the fuck is
Any
this?
guns, alt death.
Wait,
TNT made more deathmatch
wait,
material than they did
how
single
are
player
you
time.
selecting this from inside the game? Like,
this is just the options.
That's just skill levels. Like what they predefined what each skill level would do in all their deathmatch maps, like from the first deathmatch series.
Yeah. You will
Absolutely
notice
fascinating.
that
Yeah.
no,
these
I
are
mean,
in the wrong order.
you're doing that in. How are you doing that inside the map? Like you're supposed to run the game already with all the settings, right?
Yeah,
Well,
but
you notice
it's-
ammo
no.
times 2 are on I'm Too Young to Die in Nightmare. No
Yeah.
plasma's a thing placement. And I don't know about ult
But-
death, though.
Yeah, he means
But
though
you-
that you would never
but you
see them
don't
because the way
set
that you
that
load up
up.
games. Yeah.
But you don't set that up in a multiplayer game. You have to start a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I don't know.
With
Yeah.
all of that set up.
Well, how about
already.
you read the text file? How about that, do? How about that?
Well, I didn't know this existed because no one heard about it.
Man, I
I
thought you were
still don't
enough
know
of a
what the
historian.
fuck we're playing.
We're playing TNT's Pride and Joy.
Yeah,
What?
It's
Reclamation.
Reclamation.
Yeah.
It's a
What
deathmatch
is that?
map set.
It's a
Why?
deathmatch map set.
3 or 4,
Because
32
the
strong.
first 4
deathmatch
didn't take.
map.
That's why.
They thought that.
What is this? Why does it exist?
They thought people who play multiplayer Doom would enjoy skating on ice.
What is
Man,
this? Why?
I've played a Gaz.1 and it was the best multiplayer experience.
Oh man! Oh, I love this. I love the super shotgun on the conveyor belt, man.
Jay, imagine
It-
if
it-
in
it
16 years'
adds
time
so
someone
much
puts a flag on that
strategy.
conveyor belt.
Yeah.
It adds so much strategy to the map that you have a SSG on a conveyor belt. You know.
Okay, look, I've played a Gaz.wad, and this is no a Gaz.wad, okay?
Dude, berserking on ice. Come on.
Now, this is basically This
I don't know what
basically
this
just showcasing tricks
I love the drips. I think I'll
Boom
still
can
those.
do
And then
in
bury the hatchet.
deathmatch maps, and this is exactly why it failed, because no one fucking cares about effects in deathmatch maps.
Yeah, how's my mapping? How's my mapping? 1-800 bad.
So they made a new truck, the reclamation truck.
The reclamation truck.
Oh
Dude,
my.
the fucking TNT truck's better. Fucking poser. Fucking.
I don't know.
It's
I
Team
quite like
TNT
the
though.
reclamation.
It's
It's still
just made
TNT.
another one.
Yeah,
like look at all that lovely light detail of those street lamps. That's
God,
that's
that's
what you
even-
care about when you're shooting someone to win a game.
That liquid's even worse than the BTSX pizza sauce.
I'm pretty sure that's
No, I'm actually thinking of suspended in dust.
Oh yeah, there you
Oh
go.
God! No!
Oh my god, I never.
I
This
think
is
you're
like a-
physically hurting Jay. This is my fear.
What is
We'll be
this
through it
map?
soon. This is why we're not doing the other four.
This is like a really bad submission, dude. 32-24.
What is this map? This is
It's
like
a deathmatch map.
no, it's not.
Well, but you know, it's a deathmatch map in 1999, I guess.
no.
Oh man,
Oh God,
I don't remember this being this bad. Holy shit.
dude! In 1999, there was already a full established deathmatch
Yeah,
industry
yeah.
with brilliant maps.
We,
Like,
we better have an upcoming episode where like Devastation comes in and like just
Right, yeah.
tears all of these maps apart.
Vomits all over that you won't actually say anything.
Well,
Yeah.
after
this is
the
why
last.
nobody played this ever, because
Yeah.
it's just showcases of mapping tricks, and it has nothing to do with multiplayer gameplay and anything. Like, does it even have like multiplayer starts or?
Oh, it does.
I
Yeah.
would hope so.
Yeah.
tell me
I mean,
this is
I mean,
friction.
Definitely hope so. No, I
No,
believe
these
this is
are
just
just-
deep water.
yeah.
Kind of like semi-deep water. They have a room over room though. Isn't that great?
Yeah, that's
Oh my
fantastic.
God, yeah, that's even better.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Room over room in multiplayer. Like, why? It
Why
won't
not,
do
man?
anything. Like,
Man, got
Wow.
smacked off that plasma
oh
launcher.
God.
I think we should keep
What,
going.
is
I
that,
don't
is,
know.
is
No reason.
that like supposed to punish you for picking up the plasma?
Yeah.
Oh God. This
But look at
is
these
like
translucency effects. They're amazing.
That's like a no
Every
reason.
time,
translucency.
every time I go for the rocket launch, I'll buy and admire the translucency box.
Oh, that's so fast. And I can't get up here. Nope, it's pushing me back.
So 50.
I was,
Hey,
I was
Trick,
actually
I told
starting
you
to
about.
make it, but I
Walk
want
the
to show
line.
it from the other side.
Like, yeah,
Because the point
basically,
is that it does this.
this is
Oh, man,
why
BFG.
nobody ever played this, because it's not actually deathmatch maps. It's just deck demos for their tricks.
But there are
Without
so
even-
many such. I mean, I doubt there are many deathmatch.
Who would
sort
love
of,
to play on
showcase.
this?
What
map?
the fuck is this?
It's amazing. It's
Yeah, it's-
shotgun only. It's even better.
Oh my god! What the fucking? No.
Hey man, but this got a whole new OST going on here.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
think of the poor composers making all these fresh new tunes for something.
Is this
that are
map's name
probably most people would play.
Tailspin? Is this map's name Tailspin?
I don't know. Maybe it was. Oh, I forgot to add they added a BEX file too. You should go get that.
Oh yeah, for all
That
like the
was-
level names. Yeah.
That's something that we haven't shown off yet, so I'll just.
I
quickly
think
bring
we're
it
done
back
with
up.
that, to be
No,
honest.
there's one. There's at least one I wanted to show off in there.
Oh God! Are you trying to shell shock me even more?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that Boom added.
yeah.
You had
You
a
can see the auto
dehack
map.
a dehacked format that you can like throw into WADs or like no, you couldn't throw it into WADs though, but it was like a BEX format, which was an extended. It was the Boom extended dehacked format, so you can like change when function pointers were on certain frames and stuff like that. Like you couldn't do that easily in dehacked, but like Boom added that additional stuff as well.
I
I
really
just
do
wanted to
appreciate that we're
show this.
entering these maps using the new game menu, so that we can see the skill 5 selection. Are you sure these maps aren't even remotely playable?
I just wanted to show that intermission text because they are very
Nice.
serious about their deathmatch.
Yeah. Who
These
wouldn't
conveyor
be?
belts? Oh, these conveyor belts. Are
Team TNT,
If you were
goddammit.
trying to play this in multiplayer, in single player, rather.
Is this a fucking chainsaw map? It is.
Oh god.
What
That's like something Sigwar made for 32 in
At
24.
least that
Like-
was.
like-
Oh, good, good. You know what I like? I like maps that are chainsaw BFG.
You know what? Have you considered the possibility that maybe this is just the Dorian Gray of deathmatch, and this is the painting in the attic, and all the terrible ideas just get
Like somebody,
dogpile into
This is the
shit.
price we pay for success.
like this WAD just accumulates all, everybody's first maps.
And it gets worse over time. Like
It really
Anyway.
bugs me that
This
this
was-
doesn't
this
damage
looked
you.
much better back in the day. It got worse with 20 years of mapping.
Oh man.
Still, I trust in the
Where's that?
Doom World community to make a new
Oh, yeah, this
community
one.
project that converts these into single player maps.
I love
They're
those.
already that, to be honest. Oh, beautiful. What is this?
Oh,
Pinky.
man.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know he was mapping this early on in his career.
Nice. Oh, I completely forgot.
That
about
is
this
This
one.
is
something of
actually
beauty.
brilliant. This is actually
Yeah.
awesome.
So, pretty
It's
good.
fan fucking
All the weapons on the conveyor belts.
Yeah, you should actually like have all the weapons just spit it out from that machine.
This is the
Cheese
best.
grate.
This is the best map so far.
Oh man.
I especially wanted to show
Feed
that
me
one.
rocket launchers, please.
I
Anyway.
think Pidgey's secretly he's just in awe of this. He's like, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. This is top shelf stuff.
I'm you know what? I'm ashamed to admit that I would probably make a map like this for deathmatch, like put all the weapons on a conveyor, just like so everyone's like, no, I can't get the weapons in the exact same spot. I can't plan routes. I'm like, yeah, fuck you. How about you?
I did that
You
for
need
that
to
reason.
wait
I got
for it.
to rage quit. It was great.
You did.
Dude, it was.
Dude, yeah, this is pretty much the Funhouse map in the 90s.
Or that like one in like Counter Goat Initiative that I like and everybody else hates.
I love that map. That map is fun.
Anyway,
He says
that's
before he
mostly
quit
what I wanted
making
to
Jill
show
mad.
off was that conveyor belt dropping corpses thing. So let's move on because we have
Thank
more
you, Heroes
important
3.
stuff to show.
I agree for what it's worth.
Oh, that their commentary is terrible.
Dude,
You know,
5 years in the making.
Of course,
There we
the
go.
commentary is horrible.
So, this
like,
is,
like, what do you
PAX.
think?
Packs by Ty
They were
Holderman
professionals?
from 1999. And already we can see that this is Boom because it's going right in that lap.
Oh yeah,
Wait, is this Twin Peaks?
The music? I don't know.
No,
I
no,
don't
it's
think-
not.
no.
It just started one way. Damn.
Oh, I know for a fact that like what is it? Serenity.wad uses Firewalk with Me. One of the maps does. And I was like, where is? I love this song. Where is it? And I finally found it one day.
So this was released when, sorry? Captain?
1999.
Wow, okay, we're moving at a snail pace.
Well, a lot of the more interesting stuff was either because it came out very early or it was actually kind of interesting. It took a few years more to come out.
Right.
And these
right.
days, we don't see it as much anymore.
Were there any... what's the next major key source port development that might impact the way that people map for Boom or perceive it? So with respect to something like Zeta releases or something. Ouch, that was...
No, wait. It's
Sounds
like
bad.
it took people time to realize the possibilities of
Yeah.
Boom. Like you had that Boom edit WAD showcasing what you can do with that, but most people did not use like anything. The original maps mostly just used Boom to relax limits. Like as I said during the dual stream, I played Vorpal's map, Atomic Tomb, which is apparently meant for Boom. It's from 1999. It's in the top 100 WADs, and it has pretty much nothing that would be Boom specific. That thing could probably run in limit removing as we know it nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, like that. I think that's why I get angry or like irrationally angry when like people say like use a limit removing port. I'm like, just say Boom or better. Like
it's like the definition changed over the years. Like back then, limit removing meant Boom.
Yeah.
Nowadays, limit removing means Doom 1.91 or whatever, like the Doom 2 Plus, which is
it's in a really weird space limit removing because it feels like it's just like a vintage selection that you really don't need to pick for. You really should just be mapping in Boom if you make the decision to map for limit removing.
Yeah, like you don't have to use the effects. You could just
because what source port are you gonna be targeting? You're gonna be targeting PR Boom. So I mean, everything's set up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It doesn't change anything. It's just that.
You know what it is? It's a pat on the back for just using the vanilla features.
On the other hand, I can understand it using making it vanilla limit removing as basically because of the pushing insert over the ledges. Just that one thing changes everything, and fuck that feature forever.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you have no idea how frustrating it is to record demos for a Boom map where monsters can fall off sniper pillars.
No, I mean I can imagine. Yeah, I mean like when in mapping for that, I have to like throw monster block lines everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Get things
And
edges.
it's just frustrating. So like we have more granular categorization nowadays.
I feel like though some of that is like so people can say that they're part of a category that makes it somehow special. I don't know. I just have such a cynical view of it now.
I wouldn't put too much focus on it. Like some people make a big deal out of it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big part of this map's Boom usage is coming up in a moment.
There we go.
This right here. And it might not look like much, but there's actually a lot of fake ceilings going on here.
Oh wow, I recognize this map as well, which surprises me. So I must have been going through some sort of Boom exploration phase myself. Probably not with an eye for sort of using the features, but I've surprised myself with that one. I recognize this pen, I guess you'd call it.
Mutiny used it, but the problem with that was like half the people mapping for Mutiny map for Boom. Myself included, because like when somebody says limit removing to me, that means Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Mutiny actually breaks on a few occasions if you just use comp level 2. So it's not actually limit removing as it's defined for demo recording, because that would meant comp level 2. I would suggest using comp level 9 for all Mutiny demos. Just throwing it out there.
I you know what? Deep water was like the one thing. Like deep water and the conveyor belts were the one thing I wanted to abuse like mad as soon as I got my hands on the Boom engine, and I could have never do it as well as as I could have at the time, and I don't know. I think I still can't.
I feel like we've recently passed through that era where limitation projects were being used to capture the imagination of all those vanilla enthusiasts and get them to be innovative that way. But 10 Sector was one of the originals, along with the 1024, and that targeted Boom as well. So I'm not sure if that's on the roster, but it may worth just be loading that up. That broke horribly when I attempted it for Iron Man. Had to ditch that.
Yeah. Oh, 10 Sector. 10 Sector is in the list, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a map
Ooh.
of each from each show a lot.
Yeah, that's the one where it's like, okay, this totally is not going to work in vanilla simply because of like the insane shit that goes on all throughout the map, and I think it was like Boom was picked to be the safe port. Like people knew that things didn't break in that port.
Oh, definitely. That's definitely a large part of. I always talk about how Boom is essentially like the best place for people to start off mapping when they're like new to mapping, because you don't have to worry about things like limits, but you also aren't overloaded with too many features. Not to say Boom doesn't have a lot of features, it does, but a lot of them are really hidden or require a lot of like more complex usage to where like a new mapper is not going to find himself being overloaded.
Right. Yeah. It's not that it adds features;
but-
it's that it consolidates the existing ones.
Yeah, like
10 Sector.
Generalized.
If we're talking about 10 Sector, that's still like 2000,
Yes.
yeah.
when this was completely new.
My ultimate one.
So
Hey, Todd.
I kind of think like have you asked Linguisa, for example, like is this did he pick that to like expand the limits or promote a new standard or something?
Right, you know that's what I'm getting at.
Because
That's a very interesting
that's
question, 'cause-
kind of like what I would expect from him. Like
Right,
you know,
here we
push
are.
the new standard.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 10 Sector. Basically, it was like a contest to see who could make like really cool maps using only 10 sectors. And when we mean sector, we mean a combination of floor and ceiling height and textures. I mean, you could have as many like lines and whatever and sides to add like detail or separating rooms and stuff like that, but you were only allowed up to 10 sector.
It's difficult to describe
informations.
exactly what a sector is, but the important takeaway
Yeah.
for people who know the term is that sectors can be non-contiguous, meaning they don't. All of the lines that make them up don't have to be joining each other.
Right.
You could have
Meaning,
like a whole
like,
all
all
of
those-
these. Yeah, all of these.
Everything with the same properties on the
These are all
same
the same sector.
could be merged
double.
together.
Right.
Yeah.
Like all the trim is one sector, all the crate things that are made out of that tech wall, those are all one sector.
It'll carry the same properties, and any action that you put to that sector will, even if there's they form different
It's actually kind of
geometrical
ironic.
spaces will
Yeah.
affect.
The ironic thing is that basically this is like using a very hard limitation on like the sector count that limits like the architecture you can use, but in 2000 relaxing you know the like base of use to Boom. That's actually like
Exactly.
giving the mappers huge possibilities, like to explore, because
This is fascinating to me because
back then.
we have, given the sheer number of limitation projects that we indulged in after this period, you know, starting from the mid 2000s and right up
all
into
of
things
those-
like 50 Shades. Yeah.
But all of those projects usually they just focus on limiting you. Like,
What I was going to go on to say is that
Yeah.
these days we've developed a very sophisticated way of thinking about things like layout and architecture, and those are usually the sorts of areas of level design that we target and try to express in light of the limitations that we provided for ourselves. Whereas I imagine with something like 10 Sector, what I'm really interested to see is, like you said, because Ling was he the mastermind behind it, or was he
He
the
organized
mastermind?
it. He
Yeah.
organized.
There were
So
different
was
people
was
judging.
that his modus
but-
operandi?
What I mean is that, like, maybe the limitation projects nowadays, what they lack is actually like, if you limit the mappers, you should also give them a leeway in some other way. Like if you give them a limitation, also let them, explore something more broadly.
Okay, but is 10 Sector the best way to do that? I mean,
Of course not.
no. I mean,
This
if
is
you
an
put the 10
experiment from
Sector problem,
2000.
right? If you put the 10 Sector argument to
right.
today's
Right.
limitation sort of geared
Where-
project-minded audience, they would know how to tackle it with respect to the things that I mentioned, like architecture, whatever.
I forgot to show it up.
But is there a limitation you can have that would encourage people to use boom features explicitly to work around it? Like that's I can't think of anything that jumps out.
10 Sector.
No,
I
Yeah.
thought
really.
this was friction. Dang it, I
Yes,
thought this
really,
was
because
If you just merge the
Oh man,
different
But-
things, I mean, what do
No,
you
I mean, like, there was actually
we'll move on then.
uh,
I was mistaken.
all those 1024 projects.
Yeah.
And they're all capped at boom. Make them Z-Doom. Make them as inventive as
I
you can.
want to hear Tanson's response to this, because he seems to think that 10 Sector was that show sort of.
Well, no, okay, they definitely encourage advanced source ports. If you want to argue that they should use ZDoom, well, I would agree with that. See, here's the thing. You could be like mega limit yourself and use vanilla or whatever. This is an amazing start.
Yeah.
You can be like, hey, mega limit yourself and just use vanilla. The problem with that is that using an advanced port like, say, Boom, gives the player more room to kind of do interesting stuff that's not held back by the limitations. I'll give you an example for 1024 is null space, map 32,
Yeah.
and all the special floor move triggers that map uses that you simply
Okay.
couldn't do in vanilla. Well, there you go. You have a small space because of the limitation of 1024, and so using an advanced engine says I can now take this small space. I can, get as much gameplay mileage out of it as I can using all these new like tricks and features that I wouldn't have available to me if I was just using vanilla.
Oh, look at that!
Just say mileage.
You're
What
on
was
a.
I agree. No, that's
moving
a
boat.
good example. Because I was sort of querying the. This is pretty impressive. Yeah. I was querying although Eternal did it better
Yeah.
with voodoo guns.
Oh, I wanted
This
to.
is
the 10 second
2000. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
9-10 years earlier.
But yeah, null space is a great example.
I wanted to say, like in the previous map, those doors, every single door was one sector. Like when you opened a door, you had to have like maybe a line that closed it behind you, or else all the doors on the map would be open.
No, but you said null space is a great example. I agree, but okay, someone already made null space, and it generated a ton of clones actually,
Yeah.
because everyone loved it. Now, where do we go from that? Like, are we just saying, okay, we already exhausted all of our creativity? Like,
I think this is all contextualized by when 10 sectors emerge, for example. I think where Boom has ended
that's
up
why
is
I
where
said
it's to go.
that
All right, hold on.
this
What
is
are
why
we
the new
playing?
projects
This
are
would be
doing it
recognizable.
wrong. Rock,
Okay.
rack,
So we're
Rack.
Rack 2, in particular.
rack 2.
Frederick Johansson, 2001.
Yeah.
Oh, she was great.
The cutest chick on Doom World.
There we go. Someone rescued me. Like Frederick, that's not a girl, though.
Yeah. I was about to say.
No, I get what Dew's saying, and I agree with that. And that's why, you know, if you want to do these projects, maybe do them for ZDoom or whatever. But Nullspace is the go-to example because I think Nullspace understands like what you should be fucking doing. Like, so here's the thing. Like, okay, I want to make a 1024 map. Like, what is this map for? Like, anybody can make a small map. Like, the goal of like these limit removing things should never be make something within these limits. It should be, here's a limitation. Now do something that makes the player feel like, oh, I'm actually not playing something within these limits.
Yeah, that's why it was a contest.
Yeah, well, Nullspace is a great example because Nullspace doesn't feel like it's restricted to 1024. It feels like a fully fledged out map. It feels like its own thing in a space.
What I was saying, we're already like, Nullspace was what, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And we've already seen so many like successors or like Nullspace done better or, you know, another take on it. Where's like the next step? Like I would expect at least one of those limitation projects to take it to the next level. Not just copying it.
I think it's settled more or less. The space that Boom has sort of wriggled its way into in light of all the other developments with other ports and the community obsession with design for vanilla sort of semi-purism. I think that's where it's going to end up, and I think that's okay.
No.
No?
You see, it's not about Boom. You have all these limitations that target vanilla, and it's stupid. Like, as I said, you should put on a restriction, and on the other hand, you should relax something else.
Right, and that's what Alfonso's question was: is do any of these limit projects require, like, why don't they use vanilla? And my point about
they call attention to the exclusively Boom features in a way that would capture the imagination of a current community that is obsessed with these. Yeah, go on.
The projects that just that are vanilla and put on some hard limit, they're missing the point.
Yes, absolutely.
So the real thing that I think everybody's dancing around is we lack really creative people to come up with those.
No, the project leaders are not creative enough.
I mean, like, but and I will go forward and say it's because people kind of want their name on a creative idea, not so much associated with the effort to execute.
Okay. There's certain things where, like, nothing you're gonna do is gonna make 5 Rooms of Doom a good idea. Okay. All right. You're not gonna make 5 Rooms of Doom good. Like, there's no map that's gonna be like, holy shit, 5 Rooms of Doom. Like, oh my god, I can't believe this is only 5 rooms.
Thank goodness for the Boom features, so I could explore this idea to its fullest. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's an example of something that is flawed for a different reason. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so what's the big thing about Vrac other than holy shit detail and a giant ass map?
Let me just chime off on this, just because I want to make sure I land the right note here before I stop. So I'll just sign off for this one.
Sure, save your ego, Alfonso.
I need to. It's like I've been in dual mode today. It's been all about my ego. I feel like, given Boom has settled in the space that it has, naturally, if you give people enough free rein, it's going to become what it is today, which is simply something that is a means for convenience rather than to explore the precise sort of features that occupy the very extensive what the engine is capable of, and that's why we never really see them, because it's more an engine for convenience. But if you want to explore them, it is required basically that you have some sort of limitation that in order to squeeze them out of that space. Otherwise they will never see the light of day, really.
What I was saying was that
I can't respond to this. I've already signed off. Damn.
I mean, I like the topic, and I know there's so much more to talk here, but I feel like this is an episode when we discuss specifically limitation projects, and because I don't want to cut anybody off, because this is a good discussion, but I do think that it's getting a little bit off topic.
Yeah,
It's a big
right.
map.
No, and
Actually, we should discuss the addition that Rack made that made it special.
Rack.
we
Rack.
should, yes. Right.
Rack is a game that was alright.
Okay.
Oh, no, whoa.
Sorry, Captain. We gotta
Whoa.
course once
Whoa,
again.
okay.
No, we don't. You know, let's talk about this map.
I mean,
Let's
one
talk
thing I can
about-
show off
Okay,
is that
okay,
there's
okay.
6 keys
But
you
to-
need, and like for instance, I have the red skull. It doesn't count for the red key card.
But yeah, to really show off what the real addition of this map is, you need to go to the altar and go IDDT and ID clip
Yeah,
to show it off.
it's
Because
a
this
giant
is the-
map.
Yeah, but
I really have to wonder to the extent to which introducing 6 keys, allowing for 6 keys, unique ones, sort of inspired people to really go gung ho
no, I mean,
and
I mean,
explode.
this is one of the first maps that really used voodoo conveyor belts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here.
This is the map that really used it.
This is an example of at least a voodoo case. I believe this guy eventually gets pushed where he needs to go, across a number
Yeah.
of line depths that you can't quite see, but there's one.
So basically, they would just like either be used for timing or
All
like,
those
triggering a whole bunch of
squares
things
on the
road.
ceiling is what I think Rack's real contribution was.
I don't know. I think we didn't IDDT on the rest, but I assume you wouldn't see any dumber sectors like this. I think Vrac is hugely influential in this regard. I'm not sure if it was the first.
I'm not also sure it is the first, but it is most certainly the one that was influential in this regard, because if some odd WAD did it first, no one knows. But
Yeah.
everyone copied Rack in the day.
And I think of what we've seen so far, most of the Boom feature examples have been isolated. They haven't really been in combination. And Boom today is the way that its features are implemented in dummy sectors in particular. It's loads of lines in those sectors stacked that you can achieve
Yeah.
tens and tens of different things. That's something we're seeing here as well, and that has become commonplace. That's a huge contribution.
That's right. I think that I think lowering by 8 is something that can't be done.
yeah, it's like the incremental
I know
lowering.
that's subtle, of course, but
Yeah.
that's an important limitation in vanilla, is that you can only raise things, and specifically by I think 8 units. So
Yeah, I think with that in mind, in combination, you can basically achieve anything in Boom that you adapt from sensibilities you've learned from vanilla Doom. You know, you've learned to appreciate the dynamic sectors and stuff like that. And if you want something to lower just by this much, and then twice that much in future by triggering something else, whatever, you can do that. You can manipulate things to an infinitesimally small degree.
Or like, yeah, I was gonna say like for the stuff that like lowers like floors by X many units every single time it's switched or whatever, you basically have like the Quake style flip these 4 switches and then something happens with like, you know, the voodoo doll thing crossing a line because you lowered a floor that's in front of it like
Right.
4 times.
That's
So
something
like,
that we've really mastered today. So, for example,
Yeah.
in Mayhem 17, I think it was Jack Soon, I think. He has, for example, I mean, this has been done repeatedly, but he has a hellish ship, I guess you'd call it, which has propellers which spin because there's a voodoo in a dummy sector that's repeatedly teleporting back on itself and crossing over these lines to give the impression of
Right, so-
propellers spinning in the maps.
And just to explain this for if there's someone watching who doesn't really understand that what we're talking about. So basically, the principle is that you want some actions hidden from the player, like they should be performed automatically and not by player actually like switching them or walking over them. But that's sometimes really hard to do because the player will do whatever they can to break it. So you want that to be done automatically. So how do you do that? Because Vanilla Doom doesn't really give you a lot of choices, because monsters can only activate like 2 actions, 3 actions. They can do almost nothing.
They can open a door and they can lower
Two
lists.
monster projectiles apparently can trigger things to do
So
more
they're
content.
completely useless in this regard.
There was a huge argument about that with GraphSol, I think, about implementing that sort of bug flag.
And well, hold up.
Anyway, what
Sorry.
the player can actually, there's a wide variation of actions the player can activate by walking over lines, and this insane bug where you place another player 1-star that generates a duplicate player that you can't control means that this dummy can actually also activate walkover lines. But in Vanilla Doom, you can't move this guy whatsoever unless you damage him, unless you push him by barrel damage or shooting him or
We're
whatever.
talking extreme hacks at that point.
That's completely unusable in realistic scenarios. In Boom, you can move him on conveyor belts, and this is where scripting comes in. It's
Rube Goldberg machines. Yeah.
Well,
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
no, it's not. It's not. The real Rube Goldberg machine is the vanilla voodoo doll trick and shit with barrels, as showcased in fucking whatever that Kama Sutra map is that does that shit.
Map 24.
Yeah, and has fucking Metallica playing. Yeah, that shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, but
Look at this map!
There's a lot of shit in this map.
You can push this duplicate player on a conveyor belt to activate all those walkover lines that you want activated in the background, which allows you to script the map. Very primitively, but it has this charm that a lot of people love and prefer over actual scripting in Z-Doom.
Geometrical scripting over actual letters and characters.
Right,
Well, I mean, there's a. I'm not gonna lie. There's like kind of a there's a charm in using something quote unquote mechanical to do a lot of crazy stuff. Like the part of the fun. Yeah, part of the fun is seeing what you can get away with given your limits, and that's primarily why mapping for these like old, like quote unquote older engines.
Right. The game's flaws and
good,
quirks
yeah.
has provided us with so much in this respect.
Yeah.
And it's honed this appreciation of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And this is one of the first maps that used that. And
Okay.
it
I'm
only
getting
got
the Ludovico technique effect here, Captain.
and
Yeah.
it only got more complex from this point on. This is where it like started.
I was
This
trying to
had
show
a
off,
very primitive
here.
use of that.
Here's the exit.
But this is the one of the first maps that used Boom's voodoo doll scripting.
But
Show
yes,
off
don't ever
this.
play rack.
Here we go.
Alrighty.
Wow. Okay, so I imagine the level plays a lot slower than that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a really mean exit right there.
Oh yeah, I did that like in like Forsaken Overlook, where like there's that sword you have to grab, and as soon as you touch it, everything around you changes.
Oh god, yeah, that was actually pretty mean. Because those cyber demons there. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Oh boy.
Phobos, Anomaly Reborn.
So this one shows off a number of good demo. This shows off a lot
If
of
you
stuff.
can get out of the crane and survive for
By the way, you, Captain, you were afraid that this map might be MBF or something. It's actually like the
Technically,
thing
the top
is
level is 11, I think. But
no, it's that Chris, he copies his text file ever since the 90s. It's the same time.
Is that
And
right?
he's like he's mapping for like a boom standard, but he only tests in ZDoom.
Oh man,
This has
And
apparently
it's like
been
a
tested.
rookie
in-
mistake.
By
But
the way,
he's doing
Phobos
this
Anomaly
since the
Reborn
90s.
Yeah.
the Phobos Anomaly Reborn ship versus the knee-deep in Zdoom tank. Who will win?
Ooh.
Fight.
The ship by far.
Yeah.
Now here's a subtle example of something different here. This is a really slow... Okay, it's never mind. I thought it was at the time, but it's I thought it was like a slow-acting, damaging floor, but no, it's not.
I'm pretty sure if you stand right in the middle, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I did, and then it worked that way. But,
Excellent.
so yeah,
Yeah, it only
Phobos
does by
Anomaly
s-
Reborn has a lot of stuff in it, but if you look at even just the first few maps, their starts make heavy use of boom effects.
Yeah, and
So-
this is and it's interesting when you compare this alongside the Caverns of Darkness as well, which is also by the Chaos Crew. They play very similarly, despite the latter being for Zdoom, I think.
Caverns of Darkness was actually its own original executable, and then eventually
Oh,
got
wow.
a ZDoom patch to make it
That's
playable.
right, that's
basically.
right.
Oh yeah, and these translucency effects are pretty cool. These ones
Yeah.
with the pillars.
Did you play this on stream, Alfonso? I'm trying to remember where I've seen this from before.
I don't think so. No. You may be confusing it with Rex's Phobos replacement, which you probably played at some point to honor Basic Design Has Failed Day, January 1st.
Oh, Rex Clausen.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh
Wait,
boy.
what was that called? Phobos? No, Phobos Anomaly or something like that?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They're confused.
So there's another like right here. This is kind of interesting. I don't think this is actually. I don't think this is.
You can die if you step on those, right?
Oh, I
Yeah.
think those are like animated. Those might be just animated textures.
Yeah.
Because like another boom thing was animated in switches. You could actually declare,
Nice.
"Wow."
Oh, but I have to mention it. You were facing west at the moment of death, and Entryway actually patched in the most bizarre feature that I think
Oh god,
we
yeah.
mentioned on this, which it has a unique west-facing Jeb code point.
Oh.
Which is completely, it's astonishing. I don't know if that's supposed to be paying homage to something.
Wow.
Isn't
Weird.
that like something from
Heretic? Maybe? Well, he plays the Heretic death sound, or the Hexen Jeb sound. The beheading.
Well, that's
The first time I saw it, I was so fucking confused what was going
yeah,
on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I think those propellers were like because you could change, what is it like? Which things animate? You could change what textures animate and what textures are switches, and that was like another boom type of deal. Hey, oh look at this! You're on a train.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And the train is leaving.
Don't do it.
Oh no! There goes the train.
And there goes your life now.
Damn, it doesn't kill you, man.
Doesn't
It's-
what?
It might be because I was God moded before. No,
You broke it.
There we go.
This is not exactly the
There we
NJ
go.
train.
There we go.
Right.
Nice.
I was just God moded at the time where I was supposed to go. But yeah, so this is the
Yeah.
using some interesting effects from Boom here, and like this transparency right here, immediately. Really complicated machinery. I guess this is getting off the train.
Yeah.
Oh no, I've definitely played this. Okay.
And also these, I don't know how well these slants work in vanilla.
Textures.
Yeah.
Like just straight up like textures and whatever.
Oh, cool.
Like so you can see like some of them are floors and some of them are like just cover everything up with like custom textures. Yeah, people had to get creative. Limits breed creativity.
What was E1M8? trying to remember if this had anything particular.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool
Good
effect.
job.
Yeah.
It's better
Oh, yeah,
than Lost
that-
Soul doesn't.
Fire blue. Scroll left, scroll right.
Oh boy,
I
this
think I mentioned
bridge
this before, but one of my favorite boom effects, which I think I remember mostly from Unloved, which is Visedium. God damn it! But it's when you stack the same texture, multiple lines with the translucent effect, so that it appears, I guess, like a sort of clown hall of mirrors type effect. I don't know how you
Oh
describe it.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything else special here.
I've-
The end,
I've
the
seen-
beginning's kind of.
I've seen like
Oh,
kind of like
these guys.
crazy effects in
That's just
I've seen like kind of crazy effects and stuff in what was it? That it was by Blue Eagle, Unloved, where you have like the projected the additive textures from the wall, and then it just looks like it's glowing out of the wall
Sorry,
in a very
that's
weird
how I
projector
would
way.
describe it. Yeah,
Yeah.
done a terrible job of doing that.
Yeah, like the volumetric light type of effects, and those always look really cool. Yeah, look at all this. Wowee.
I think
So-
those are. I remember playing it. Those are custom project. Oh, they're obviously custom projectiles, but they also do a shit ton more damage than basic plasma.
And now to finish up, we have something that's actually kind of half modern. Well, it's modern.
It's
Because that was 2003, and
Oh,
now we're going to
modern.
jump all the way to 2015.
bit of a jump.
Yeah, 2015.
Oh,
Hey, hey.
I
Oh,
know
so
it's
what's
2015.
You guys were talking about how nobody really does anything original anymore. Maybe you were arguing it anyway. I would have to say that the stuff that Mouldy does certainly felt more original than.
Well, have you seen his YouTube videos?
Well, yes, Syriac, yeah.
The dude is a
And thi-
mad
this
genius.
This is basically the Doom version of his YouTube videos because it's
Yeah.
so wildly original and inventive,
Yeah,
and
when we're
all around amazing.
when we're referring to his YouTube videos, I mean it's Syriac, everybody. It's Syriac Harris.
Does
And
he
then-
sound
and-
Actually, like
people
that,
in
pointed out
yeah.
apparently.
Oh, we'll skip it. But
No.
so
You
every
have to
single
get
level
out there.
starts with this thing opening right here, and that's basically a voodoo script. Is that
Yeah.
guy? Is this door opening slightly after the level starts?
Right.
I think you can
This is the
see
future
them-
of boom use. So this is where it's how it's evolved.
Yeah, here's
evolution of the WAD, evolution of the engine.
Yeah.
The more complex you're getting, you're going to be making extensive use of these outside zombie sectors that we were
And
talking
this
about.
this is the WAD that's probably one of the most egregious cases of just abusing voodoo dolls for everything.
Right.
Yeah.
To create
This is-
very fluid effects at times. I think
This
the
is
one
full
map
retard.
showcase the most is map 26 or 7. It's called Insanity.
Yeah, we're going to show that. But so anyway, I press this, and that releases, and that's another script right there. So that's how that works.
Yeah, so that that little
And that shows
player
up in
thing
basically
moves.
every map where there's an elevator, of which there are many. So
Yep. Doesn't it make you a tiny bit angry that along comes this seemingly outsider type of guy and then just destroys everybody with an amazing megawatt?
I mean, on a personal level, sure, I get a little bit jealous, but that's
No,
not
no.
the sort of blood that's required.
I don't know.
Well, but
I
he
get tiny
tapped
bit jealous
something
about
that no one. He tapped something original that no one was really like. Everyone was thinking of voodoo dolls in just as helper scripts for something small. No one ever centered the entire megawatt around this. So
Yeah.
props for that to him. Like someone else should have done that if they wanted that credit.
I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what Matt's trying to say is that it's not just any guy, it's the guy who's renowned for stuff outside of this community.
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm just like
coming
this
in
motherfucker over here.
on the streams, like,
No,
we're
no,
supposed
no.
to be the guys who are embedded into the
I mean-
scene,
I
and you need to
mean-
come to us to learn how shit's
I-
done. It's like, no, I'm good at everything else.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like not that. It's Mouldy's vanilla maps are perfectly comparable with other great mappers. Like he's not outshining everyone with anything he does.
Right, his
It's
Doom
just
2
that
and
he-
name-only maps were quite good. And I believe that was
Yeah,
the
Well,
long
I never
project.
played those
uh,
because the
or
set
at
was
least
so bad. I
limited.
didn't get that.
Yeah,
His gotcha map is pretty fucking solid.
Yeah, it's inventive and everything, but you know, it's not like it's comparable to what we see in the community. It's just that with going down, he tapped something no one properly did before, and he did it really well.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
The
think it's no
extent.
accident. I think it's no accident actually that it had to. I think it would have had to be someone from outside the community, really.
Right? Yeah,
To
someone
change
not
because
with the
he wouldn't be
baggage
part of the
of
system that
community.
identifies. He wouldn't be part of the system that identifies Boom as that thing that simply makes things easier to use with the sort of vanilla mentality.
Right,
He
yeah.
What
said,
does-
okay,
hold-
there's
hold
actually
on.
more to this.
What does going down actually do? Because I played going down and like having a really cool theme and all that shit. Like, what does it do specifically with voodoo dolls other than just scripting? Or
Well,
did
no,
it?
That's
it doesn't. It's just the
But
extent to which it does it to
it's
realize
just-
new ideas.
No
It's
WAD
insane
does
one,
it to
yeah.
that extent as going down. It uses the scripting for everything.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
When I look through the maps too, because I mean this thing has that one little bit I was showing off with the two the switches going up and down. That was just generalized line defs working in action, and he pretty much just uses them whenever he needs to. So he's using the Boom engine all the time when it makes sense for him to do so to complete his ideas, basically.
Yeah.
This is basically the Boom used to its fullest.
Yeah.
Is it this one? No, it's the next one. I think.
Which one are you looking for?
I think this one. Well, I guess the previous
And
one
this-
did have what I was showing, but really, when I was just looking around for the stuff he does, he uses what he needs to, and since he was using the Boom engine, he used the Boom engine whenever it was necessary for his vision, which was all over the place.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But not, specifically by coincidence. It's just that he chose the Boom engine and he said, okay, I'm going to do anything that I can do in the Boom engine. And he wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to use X and Y and Z from the Boom engine specifically, as if that's important. Just,
Yeah,
what do I need to make?
I'm just glad that it. I'm just glad something like this did come from somebody who was quote unquote outside of the Doom community, because like the thing is, you need new blood, and that introduces new ideas or new approaches, and this can only, I think, kind of be done by somebody who was outside. I mean, like it's man, it's infuriating and refreshing at the same time.
I don't think it's so infuriating when you realize that basically has to be the case.
Yeah.
It makes me stop and wonder if I should stop wasting my time.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of the walls and stuff too, just very subtle things. He just says, I needed to be exactly this speed, and I needed to do this, and so he just picks up what he needs to in the Boom engine for that.
It is worth pointing out, by the way, as TMD, aka QQ Nesbit in the channel has done, since we also discussed it, this did start out as a 1024 project, so that limitation we discussed.
Yeah.
So I wondered to what extent that was. But anyway,
So let's show off this map, because this is the map everybody remembers.
Oh no! What happened?
that's pretty impressive.
Oh my god! I just
That's a
It's
combination
so
of light
good.
change effects and a silent teleporter, which pulls you to another room when it's dark enough that you don't notice.
Oh yeah, and a lot of his like video animations are just done in like a lot of Adobe After Effects, like layers upon layers upon layers of like animated
they
stuff.
re-implement existing components to create
Oh,
like
yeah.
multiplication factors and fractals and stuff.
It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, it feels like Boom is like, oh yeah, I'll just use all the generalized line def stuff to just do exactly what I want, but it's like layers and layers and layers and layers. It's crazy. It's crazy good and crazy at the same time.
And this is actually one of the latest maps where you're already completely familiar
jeez.
with the like. Oh, I'm inside of the elevator shaft, and I'm used to it going down, and it's just every time it does something different, you're shocked.
Yeah. Oh my god. God damn it, Syriac's
So not
a
all of
genius.
that is necessarily boom, but there's definitely some detailing in here that's using boom. In fact,
There's
ceiling
also
and
there's
floors are
also
of the same.
the effect of on map 20. I think we already showed the map opening episode, but
Oh,
it's
yeah,
overall a really good one.
Yeah.
The elevator collapsing into the gaping.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Facing the mouth of hell.
yeah, this map is like oh my god, Syriac, you're a genius, but also fuck you, because this is so good.
So you
So
finish
good.
this, and then it's like,
Shining through.
oh, did I wonder if I missed it.
I mean, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. At least to me, like, what if you're gonna talk about this needing to come from outside the community? Sector already existed, right? Like,
Yeah.
going down's great. I love going down, and I hate to have to say stuff like this because it sounds like I'm shitting on going down, which I'm not. It's a fucking amazing map set. It's just I don't think that anything going down does is significantly like had to come from outside the community because we have.
No,
I
we're
guess
not
Not
really.
what you were
Yeah.
saying. It's that all of the pieces were already inside of the community and were already using them, but no one was using them to the extent and so fully.
Yeah.
Like
It takes somebody who's
basing
not,
your
like,
entire map set around it. Like everyone was just using it as an additional tool.
Yeah.
You know, like this is I'm mapping with the Doom actions and I need something special. Oh yeah,
But that's how Mouldy uses them. He used them simply as a tool to facilitate his idea. And like his idea was this hellscape like nightmare map, and then like it's gonna all lower down and reveal this shit. And he simply needed the boom tools in order to be able to do that.
But everything in
wow.
Like
look at
this shit
that.
right here.
But everything is drenched in Boom. This is not just Doom extended. This is Boom.
It is. I think
It
Turnsman's
is, yeah.
point is that it's a coincidence that he's using boom so much because that's what he wanted to do. And we look at it and say, this is fresh. This is so much stuff that nobody ever does in boom. And Mouldy's like, well, I just used the engine. What did you expect?
Yeah, basically.
Right? Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the extent to which he uses it.
Yeah, I
It's
think you're
what makes
arguing
it special.
across each other.
Yeah.
Points, yeah.
But the extent to which, first of all, Mouldy had been in the community for several years at the point of going down. So
his
really.
name was
Yeah.
Mouldy for a while.
Actually,
He made the eye.
that was
and
it was. He had just the eye out. He was then GD was coming out in episodes actually.
when did I thought
GDE1 was out before he started joining the community projects.
No, I
So
thought he did maps. I thought he did his gotcha map before going down. Episode 1 came out.
No.
No, he did one map before the eye
GDE1.
for Nova, I think it was.
That's it.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Right.
And then that, and I think he began work on this like simultaneously that he did the Doom 2 name only stuff.
Okay. And that stuff came out before this did.
And perhaps critically, I don't think anyone was actually aware that he was Syriac
Oh,
until
map 30 is also great.
Yeah.
Yeah. This map is amazing.
But this doesn't really have much to do with boom. I figure we should just end here, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say just for Matt, there's no need to be so upset.
No, I mean, look, I fully realize I'm ridiculous.
As soon as you learn to draw a 5-pointed star, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get the same thing.
Fuck you. No, but I mean, like, what is it? I fully admit that I'm being ridiculous, but it's just like it's humbling. Humbling is the word I
Yeah,
am looking
I
for
understand
in
where you're
terms
coming
of in terms of it's just like I've been around for a long time, and I'm just like shit. Why haven't I thought of this? Because like I mean, I guess I'm still in that the
I
quote
think
unquote
I think
conventional
he
way of
probably
thinking.
thought of it or things like it, but you, like the rest of it, are just tied. We have our hands tied with our dedication to the game and trying to balance so many different things.
I mean, like, but it isn't so much that, because, like, holy shit, I could never have come up with like something this amazingly cool. Like,
This has been a great episode. I've really enjoyed doing this one.
So, do we have? I felt like we were hitting final thoughts, but does anybody have like any wrap-up thoughts that they want to go through? If I could start, one thing I wanted to bring up, we never really had the opportunity, but because this is kind of Team TNT centric, I just wanted to point out something of an irony in that the only thing that Team TNT ever used for their own engine was, that deathmatch map set we saw. After that, by the time they were working on the stuff that we'll see in the next episode, they were heavily trenched in Z-Doom. Which was, a much more feature-centric engine, basically, that allowed them to do the kind of stuff that they wanted. So, a lot of the Boom we see, a lot of the legacy that Boom left over is almost kind of the opposite of what Team TNT eventually decided to move into. But it does carry a lot of weight to people, and mentally speaking.
Right.
So, I just wanted to mention that before I do like a final wrap-up. But for the rest of you, do you have any final thoughts? We can start.
Sure. I think many of the features that are unique to the engine are sort of superfluous to what the community ultimately ended up wanting to do with it. But through just sheer complexity and time elapsed, we see stuff like this, and I think this is probably going to be the final resting place for Boom, which is a pretty good place, and I think it was fairly inevitable when you look at the sort of the way that the community interests were evolving around it and such. I don't think there's much more to say than that. I imagine we'll continue to innovate, but it will be with other engines. I think I'll leave it at that, to be honest.
Fair enough. Anyone else? Do you have any more thoughts?
Not really, unless you show the picture I just sent to Matt.
Yeah, go ahead. If you could put that up on the screen.
That should be your avatar, dude. Come on.
Yeah. Sure, be the jerk. Why the hell not?
But so, Matt, do you have anything then that you'd like to mention?
Yeah. I mean, Boom was the next necessary step in terms of, like, the intention was, now we're like free from limits, but like the things that held people back in just like straight vanilla mapping, but like but what has come out of it since then has been like nothing short of amazing. And because we have these like relaxed constraints, I'm glad that there are also other projects to say, well, maybe we should take a step back and see what we could limit in terms of like, pushing the creativity in different directions. And even when we think that everything is explored with something new, this far into the past, things still come out that continue to surprise us.
All right, and Tarnsman, then, do you have anything else to wrap
Say
up?
about the
No
Boom
contract talk here, Tons.
Oh man,
You're not going to be catching up on everyone. Don't scroll.
Fucking, I was so like already prepared for that. I'd been on Rhyme Zone, like just taking people's names and looking up for words that rhymed with them. No. Again, Boom's legacy is more about ease of access than anything else. And occasionally someone will come along and be like, oh, hey, cool, this also allows me to do a million really fucking awesome things that I couldn't do because, I didn't have access to this, or this, or this. But ultimately, mapping for Doom is kind of frustrating if you refer to, like, the base Doom game. Like, vanilla mapping is obnoxious, especially with how certain things cause limits to go haywire over other things. And having Boom as like kind of the gateway engine that, or we'll just call it limit removing, but Boom is really the legacy of limit removing and is why limit removing is a thing. Having that to be there so that, you know, somebody goes, I want a map for Doom, and they have this thing where they can make a Doom map that for all intents and purposes is a Doom map. You know, it's not fancy, it's not going down, it's not whatever crazy ass Z-Doom shit somebody's making today. It's just a Doom map, but they can, you know, make a lift that goes fast, or have something that drops to this floor height instead of like being like, why the fuck isn't there a walk over raise to this? Because all of Doom's actions are, you know, very piecemeal. If you're looking at the default vanilla actions, there's a lot of ones that are missing simply because they just cut out all the actions that weren't used in the game when they released it, I guess to save on space or whatever. So Boom facilitates essentially the continued existence of the Doom community more than anything else now. Just by giving people something they can jump into and immediately start making content for Doom without pulling their hair out.
Yeah.
I will just amend with that. I completely agree. I think it's done so much for facilitating growth because of how easy it is to use. That's probably the most important point I missed.
Yeah.
All right, and I really
and actually, I was 2012, so Mouldy had been in the Doom community for 2
God's sake.
years when he released Going Down. Checkmate me, thank you.
Okay, well, I don't really have anything else to say then other than my initial bit. So, thank you for watching. This has been Evolution of the WAD Episode 9 TNT regarding the Boom engine, and as we have heard over the last couple of hours, quite a legacy that it has left. So, thank you for watching, and moving on to the next episode, we'll be looking at what I kind of alluded to, the final 2 pieces that TeamTNT worked on. Dataless Alien Defense and...
Can we not? Hold on, no. Can we just not do, like, Deathmatch TNT? Like, for the love of fucking God.
Maybe a side episode.
Unless we actually play deathmatch on it. That'd make
Oh God, no.
We can talk about that in due time.
A Gaz.1 instead?
Is this like the downfall of TNT? Like,
Well, we have to discuss everything, the rise and the fall. I mean, TeamTNT is no more anymore.
No, this isn't NFL films. We're not looking at the life of Dan Marino. Fucking, we can just do the highlights and move on with our life.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
Until next time, have a good one and take care.